Hello, hello, VIP Kid teachers. Thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for the thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, I would really love it if you would consider subscribing. I'm kind of a new YouTuber, and I am making lots of videos about VIP Kid. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Casey. And I am planning on making more videos about VIP Kid. I'm also making some knitting videos. So if you're interested in knitting, I am going to be putting that on my channel as well. And I have a really fun new first tutorial on making a dishcloth. So that's really fun. It's easy. Um, I don't know, I just love knitting. It's kind of a distraction from the craziness of life, and I like to make gifts, and it's something that you can do to stay busy, but also thinking of others at the same time. So if you're interested in any of the knitting videos, or if there's something interesting that you would like to hear about knitting, VIP Kid, and I am kind of new to YouTube, so it's kind of funny because I thought, like, when you first start, you think, I have all these ideas for videos, and then you start making videos and you think, I'm running out of ideas for videos, and I'm right at the point now where I have more ideas for videos. So, but this video is going to be about level 7, and I've been offered level 7, and you're nervous, Casey. Okay. So my story about level 7 is when I first started VIP Kid, I was put into the upper grades. I think it was levels like 3 to 5, which they started me on, which was great for me. And I started with that level, and there's one student that I started way at the beginning with, and he was really making strides, and he was doing very well. He had been to the United States when he was 9, and so shortly before I started VIP Kid with him, he had been to the United States. He had gone to school, so he had a pretty good understanding of English. He did need a little bit of help with his pronunciation and everything, but I have been teaching him ever since, and he was in level 5. Then he went up to level 6, and I knew that he was going to soon be in level 7. And the way it was at that time, I'm almost to 2 years. So when I first started, the first 6 months or so, um, it took a little bit longer to get certified for different levels. So I started looking into level 7 because I figured if this student moved up, I didn't want to lose him. So at that time, I had to have taught like 12 level 6 classes within 2 months or something. And then I had to take one of my classes and send it pick whichever class I wanted and send it to VIP Kid, and they would evaluate if I would be ready for level 7. I think I did take the test and quiz or whatever as well. So there were like 3 different major steps that you had to go through, and then right after I got my certification, they made it a lot easier. But I went to college to teach math, secondary education, math major. So I have 13 children. I have homeschooled. I have taught all levels. So I wasn't really afraid of the level. I wasn't really afraid of the material at all. Usually you get the material ahead of time. So it's really not the material that would be the problem. Maybe the grammar for some people might be kind of difficult, but the thing about level 7 that's really cool is it's conversational. So the first point that I have for this, and I didn't think of this before, but I'm going to get my whiteboard because I'm a teacher. Teachers need whiteboards, right? I do not have an alliteration. I just have, we're going to make a little bit of a list, okay? The first thing you need to keep in mind is this is conversational. Okay, one thing that okay, I'm just gonna say conversation. One thing that I think that a lot of people forget about VIP Kid is that we are speaking to these students. Now, at my school that I work at, we do have some foreign exchange students. We have one student who's from Korea. And when he came into the school, I could tell that his math skills surpassed anything that we were going to cover. I think he was in my Algebra 1 class. But his struggle was the English words. So keep in mind that these students are very smart. They do a lot of studying. And a lot of what we're doing is teaching them the English words for um, things that they already know. Okay, so that can be a little bit of a challenge. For level 7, there are some higher level vocabulary words, but I have not really seen a struggle with really any of the they're used to learning. They're used to, like, for my kids in English, they'll be like, "Why do we use that word?" And I'm like, "I don't know, just memorize it," you know? Like, say for math, we have the associative property, the distributive property, and the commutative property. Why? I don't know. You just memorize it. But when students are learning English as a second language, they're used to doing that. They're used to processing information. So I love level 7. So let's keep in mind that this is conversation, okay? And I am going to fix my whiteboard. This is terrible. I am a teacher and I am going to help you with level 7. And I'm going to spell conversational. Okay, so this is what we're looking at, conversation, and we want student output as much as possible. So when you do the materials, you will see this many times in the lesson, in the, instructional videos and stuff, is that you want the student to talk as much as possible. Okay, these are older students. They are more advanced students. Now, my level 7 student, he skipped from halfway level 6, skipped into level 7. That's what happened to me. They found out I could do level 7. They skipped him right into level 7. I'm not quite sure he was exactly ready, but he's doing better now. But he did struggle at the beginning because there is some higher level vocabulary words. So anyway, so keep in mind, these are older students. They are more advanced students. Some of them are more conversational than others. So keep that in mind. You can have some kids that just read the slides and they're just like fine with it. There are other kids that are a little more timid and quiet, and you might have to pull things out from them. They might just give you yes or no answers. And so you have to try to pull the information out of them. So keep that in mind. Let's see. All right, so what I want to do at this point is I want to pull up my level 7 slides. In the materials, you will see that I have my iPad here. You will see that at the beginning of the class, they are going to have vocabulary. Okay, so you are going to have, let me see how this works. Okay, so this will be this way. So you are going to have some vocabulary at the very beginning. Some students, this is an assessment actually. Some students will get it right away. These are practicing spelling words, vocabulary words. Sometimes they can interact and put these in. This lesson was a little bit of a review. But on most lessons, there's going to be vocabulary, and um, they're going to tell you if they know the vocabulary words or if they don't, if they're familiar with them or if they're not. And here's some, what is extraordinary, what is ordinary, what is extraordinary. So sometimes they can move the words around like this, and sometimes they're just going to read something. This is review. Sometimes they're going to have slides where you're going to read something and they're going to expand on that or expound. They're going to, like this one is, you're going to talk about convey, and they're going to talk about it, use that word, see if they know what it means. Here's an example of some vocabulary with some suffixes. These are things that you can do ahead of time. Now, my tip for you, first of all, one of the big tips is that you are going to work through the beginning sections at a good pace. Okay, you are going to have 25 minutes to start with. You are going to have a 10-minute break, and then you are going to have 28 minutes. And if you have a class after your level 7, you have 2 minutes to get to that class. So if you have an iPad, that's really awesome. If you have a computer, you might have to just, plan on going really quickly. Now, you do have to take the break. What will happen at the break is you will get a little pop-up at 1 minute. It will say you have 1 minute till your 10-minute break. You will have your 10-minute, it will gray out the lesson. You will have your 10-minute break. What I do is I set my phone for 9 minutes, and then I run around the house and do whatever I have to do and then come back. At 1 minute, you are going to have a bell. So be near your desk at 1 minute, because that bell will keep ringing unless you press the button to make it stop. So you will have the bell, it will ring, and then you're going to start your 28 minutes. So by like 25, I like to at least get at least half or more than half if possible, because in the second half, you're going to have either preparation for a speech or you're going to have a speech. I find the pacing goes too fast if they can't do conversation. Oh, okay, good, Kelly. Yeah, well, the thing about conversation is I feel like that's more important than anything. So do not skip the conversation, even if they don't want to talk. Now, what I have done is if I have find a student who doesn't, like, sometimes in the level 7 lessons, not on this one because it's an assessment, you will have a paragraph and they'll tell a story, and then it will say use these words to continue the story. And so they're supposed to use the words correctly, and sometimes they get stumped. They don't know what to say. I'm just wonder how much conversation these kids actually do, on their own with words. So what you want to do is find something that they enjoy. So for the boys, I might talk about, what's a book you just read or a movie that you watched, or, talk about superheroes, Legos, Minecraft, video games. So if you can get their mind onto something that they enjoy, and then just tell them that they can use those words, continue the story. Like, say they went to the pet store and they saw a dog that they liked, and they have to use these 4-5 words or whatever. Continue the story. You could say, they went to, and then I'll ask them, what's the name of the city that Iron Man went to? Or what's the name of the city that Spider-Man lives in? And they look at me kind of weird, but I'm trying to loosen them up and make it fun. And the conversation is the key. And to try and get what they know, what they like, especially right now, if you have somebody right now with this virus thing going around, um, they're anxious for some kind of relief, right? So they want to talk. I had a boy for the first time, I think it was Sunday morning, and he was very reserved, and he was just going through the lesson, and he wasn't really like it, excited about it necessarily. And so, but he's mentioned soccer. So then I was like, oh, he likes soccer. So then who's your favorite soccer player? Um, and so, we got onto that topic. Who's your favorite? What's your favorite team? What are their colors? Kind of find things that they enjoy. And through that lesson, I also found out that he, his mother books his classes, and I'm like, "Do you like?" Oh yeah, that was what it was. He had such really good pronunciation. Like, I was really surprised at how well he could speak and how good his pronunciation was. And so I just told him, I said, "You have a real ability for English. I hope you continue with your lessons, and try to inspire them. Who knows what the future holds, for some of these kids that are taking these classes. He could be the next Eric Chong, right?" So I was just really impressed. And so, because a lot of times when you talk to the older kids, they have more of an accent than the younger kids. If the younger kids have started out and they have gotten the good pronunciation at a younger age, then they're good to go, right? And then the older kids, though, sometimes they need more. Uh, we need to figure out what we can do to help them with their pronunciation, because they may have gotten into some bad habits with pronunciation and stuff like that. So, yes, it's 25 minutes plus 28 minutes. So it's 53 minutes long. I don't know why let's see, 10 minutes. So five. Yeah. So it's 48 minutes, right? 25 and 28. Yeah, it goes till 2 minutes before the next class. So you're gonna go 25, 10-minute break, and then you're gonna go no, to 23 minutes, I'm sorry. So it's 48 minutes. Isn't that right? 48 minutes. So you do 25, that's 35, 45, 48. Yeah. So it was 50 minutes, because you had 50 minutes. You would do the whole 50 minutes when I first started. Then when they had the new law, they moved it to where you take the 10 minutes out and then you go for an extra for 2 minutes less than 25. So you're teaching actually for 48. So, yeah, it's not quite 50. Because they don't want kids to. It's weird though, because I feel like it's not necessary. I don't know. I liked it better the other way too. I don't like having the 2 minutes going to the next class and the 10-minute break is really ridiculous. Maybe a 5-minute break, do a 5-minute break, stop at 25, do a 5-minute break, then do another 25. I don't really get why they have to do it to 20, but they have a timer, it grays out. I didn't have a class after my last class, and we had some kind of a problem, so I did go an extra minute because I didn't have a class afterwards, but I think it might shut off at some point. So at 25, do you close? I turn off the camera, I turn off the microphone, but you do not turn off the class. You just keep your computer on or whatever you have on. Just turn off the camera, turn off the mic, maybe put a sticky note over the camera if you want. But I go out of the room and stretch. Usually if it's on a Wednesday, I have school that day, so I pack my lunch. So, yeah, it grays out, the lesson grays out. So technically you can keep talking to your student, and I've seen on the level 7, there is a group on Facebook for level 7 people. And some people have mentioned that they might go talk during the break. But I think we need to honor the Chinese law, because it's not hard for them to find us. It's not hard for them to put a red sticky note up and say, don't give students to that teacher. They're not obeying the rules. I don't know, but I'm just guessing, but I'm a rule follower. So it grays out. So I just tell the student, I'll see you back here in 10 minutes. And then when we get back, I say, so what did you do during the break? Oh, I had an orange, or, I talked to my mother or whatever. And then we just keep moving on. So with the level 7 curriculum, you do need to keep moving. Like, there's not a lot of time to really, um, you can talk. You do have some free talk opportunities in there, but you need to keep moving along. if you stop too long, you're not going to finish the slides. Now, that said, after your speech or after your speech preparation slides, you will have a few grammar slides. If you feel like your student really needs your help, you can always leave those last few slides for homework. Like the last time I taught this one student, we did not finish like 2 slides, and I said, "You can do those on your own after class." And I can also write that in the feedback. With level 7 kids, they can do that. I did have a student one time in the summer I loved so much. Like, I just was like, I want to teach you every day. But honestly, this kid was very fluent in English. But I loved his spirit. He was just such a thinker. He knew what he wanted. He had something to say, and he was mature and everything. And he was one that, he was all business. Like, he was like, wanted to do the words. He was having a great time. He loved learning and everything. And then when it came to the part where you read the paragraph and use these words in sentences, he was a little stumped. So he was the one that I loosened up and talked about superheroes. And he did mention that he liked superheroes, and I found out who he likes the best. I think it was Iron Man. And I told him I like Captain America. Because my son Peter, he looks like Captain America. He's a personal trainer and he looks a lot like Captain America. So we joked about it. So then when I saw him again, he showed me some figurines of Captain America, and then he would just like talk about these every time he had a free talk thing, he would include Captain America for my benefit. It was really cute. So then when he came to the speech, it was about his mother, and that's what this speech is about. This one also has idioms. Those are kind of fun to teach. And then this one was all about the speech in it was all about a strong person in your life. So all of the speeches that we're going to teach are going to have like an introduction, 3 main points, and then a conclusion. So that's what we're trying to get them to get into the habit of doing. But it's going to have like a topic. This one is a strong woman in your life. Prepare 3 points, and it says you practiced and you're going to do something at the beginning to keep the person's attention. Then you're going to give your points. Then you're going to conclude your speech. Then it has like a little picture here that you present the speech. Then they're going to like evaluate their speech. And we talk about, what do you think? Was your intonation good? Was your clarity good? And usually I think it's all good. Usually the students are harder on themselves than I am. I go ahead and give them all happy faces. And so that part's kind of fun. And so you can talk about the speech, give them a few tips, and then they're supposed to say it again. But if there's not time to say it a second time with your improvements, then don't worry about it. So anyway, back to my student that I had before this summer, he prepared a speech all about his mother. And I mean, his speech was like a half an hour long. Honestly, this is when it was like 50 minutes, and I'm like, what should I do? I mean, this kid is so serious and he's going on and on. He was so intent on this speech. Like, we were preparing for it. I kind of told him, it's a short speech. It's not like a 30-minute dissertation speech. But when he came to the speech, I let him do the speech. And I listened, and I was a little scared about what my feedback was going to be. But I got a 5 apple review, and I got a note back from his mother saying, "Thank you for letting him give his speech, and thank you for listening." So sometimes you do have to go with your intuition and try to just really hope that you're making the right choice. So this other student that I have right now, the student that I had all along for the last couple years, he did have another teacher for a couple different classes, but fortunately he keeps coming back to me, and I For level 7, the biggest thing for me is the scheduling, because when I open up slots, I teach part-time, so I don't always have double slots open and available. If I open slots, they're gonna book with a main course class. So, I have figured out with this one student, I have to keep those slots closed, and I got this idea from, I believe it was Nancy Taylor, and I believe that Teacher Tim also does this, is that they have a couple of the parents on WeChat. I also have one LP only for this one student. And so I have to keep the slot closed. And then when like Sunday morning, and if it's not booked on Sunday Frenzy, I keep it closed. And I have talked to the LP. If she doesn't book it with this student, I want her to book it with someone else, because I don't want to go without a student. So, but what we've been doing is every week I wait, keep it closed, then I will message her. She says, open it now. I open it. She books it immediately, just like that. Otherwise, someone else is going to take the spot. So if you have a regular that you want to keep, then that might be what you have to do. I don't understand. For level 7, it looks like they cannot priority book, which I don't really understand. Maybe because it's 2 slots, but I've been told they cannot priority book. So if he's been doing every Wednesday at a certain time, but I've been told that he cannot priority book for the next time slot. So I know which times he wants. I keep them closed. If I hear from the LP that he can't do it that week, then I will open it up for someone else. But then I told the LP, I said, that's going to make it hard, because that person's going to want a priority book. I actually had to refuse one of my priority bookings so that I could keep the slot for him once. So it's a little harder to book and to keep regulars for level 7. The other problem I had in the summer, once I qualified for level 7, I got all these level 7 bookings. One student I had every single day for like 7 days. And then right before the week started, like 3 or 4 of them canceled out. And so I did write a ticket for that, and they said that they messaged the parent and told the parent not to do that. So I lost my level 7 student with the time change, didn't know they couldn't priority book. Yeah. So that really stinks. So if you have a level 7 that you want, that's where you might want to do WeChat. Now, WeChat is a whole nother video, but honestly, some people are afraid of WeChat. I will put pictures, like say I go out and there's a really pretty sunset or sunrise or something really pretty, or I'm driving and it's snowy. I will put a picture on WeChat or something, but I don't share any of my really majorly personal information. I have just a few students, and when it was Chinese New Year, I put out a message, Happy New Year. Um, I don't do a lot with WeChat, but I figured it was worth having. Actually, it was for this one student. Actually, he's the one that gave me the idea. He said, do you have WeChat? And at the time I did not. So then when I got WeChat, I added him. I have his mom as well. And then now I have the LP. I feel really important. I feel so important, and it is so awesome. On Sundays, I talk to China. And this one student, I mean, this is a teacher, like teacher, top of the line, amazing experience, is when your kid from China, we had done this whole lesson on poems, and he was going to do a speech about a poem. And I told him I would send him some poems through WeChat that he could look over, and he could choose one for the speech. Well, I hadn't gotten to it like the first day. So like I was going to see him in a whole week. So I wasn't like jumping right on it. Um, so the second day went by, and he called me He called me. Unfortunately, I was busy at the moment. I can't remember what I was doing, but he called me. I'm like, "I am getting a call from my student in China." I couldn't take the call, but then, he sent me a voicemail message and said asked me to send him the poems. This is a 12-year-old, you know? And then kids in America wonder why teachers are so frustrated. It's because we wanna teach. Come on, we wanna teach. We love learning. We want to share it, and we want to be a teacher. We don't wanna be like a, just crowd control, you know? And it was just like, I feel so important that I got a call from my student in China, and he is just awesome. And I usually teach him on Wednesdays. Now he's booking on Sundays as well. Now, the thing about level 7 too is that their schedule will change. My student that I was talking about, the superhero guy, his schedule has changed, and he is really busy and he can't do as many classes. They have a lot of stuff that they do, but I did get him on WeChat as well. So I will send him messages every now and then. I sent him a message that he is so awesome. I sent him a message like, "I hope you are well for Chinese New Year," and stuff like that. And he he actually, I don't know, he put in his one of his feedbacks. I think he wrote the feedback, gave me the 5 apples and said, "Teacher Cindy is the best teacher in VIP Kid." I was like, "Could you forward that to the home office, please?" So the level 7s are just awesome. You just love them. I had a girl last summer that I taught her. She's the one that booked a whole bunch. But I ended up teaching her 2 to 3 times a week. And she travels around the world. She's been to Canada. I don't know. She went somewhere else recently, France, I think. And she was, not as, like, close personal. So sometimes the kids aren't as free with their friendship, but they still love you, They still think you are their teacher. They just might have a different personality to go with it. So I love level 7, and I think it's great, and I think any teacher that teaches any kid will love level 7. I don't think there's anything to be intimidated about. I heard that one of the LPs told me that, through WeChat, because my student switched LPs, and his first LP told me they're working on level 8. So he said that will be really great. He's looking forward to it because he was more concerned about, like, when they're writing, fixing the grammar, and thinking like an American speaker, not a Chinese person translating it to English. So there's a lot that goes on there. So I'm just looking at my notes. I think I covered just about everything. Um, you get the lessons ahead of time. Like I said, the beginning is going to be vocabulary. Try to get as much as you can done in the first 25 minutes. Leave plenty of time for the speech. And at the very end, there is a free talk section. So if you really zoom through everything and your kid is amazing, there is a section that's Q&A, free talk. You could have a few questions ready if you feel like you might get to that point and have nothing to do, but I don't think that's going to happen. The hardest part, I think, is making sure that you get everything done. So that's my discussion on level 7. Does anybody have anything else? Great live stream. I missed level 7. Haven't had one booking since the time change. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, they're hard. I had Sunday, I usually had 4 regular students, and then my one student decided that he wanted Sunday, so I saved that for him. And then I think it was the traveling and all that stuff. My other students didn't book, so I had 2 open spots, and a level 7 jumped in there. So I haven't had anyone else level 7 except for this one. And then this past summer, I did have some level 7s. So that was kind of fun. I really enjoy level 7. I wanted to mention, this is all about level 7 since you're here, Kelly. Um, I had a level 2 today, and it was all about the mouse, clicking the mouse. Click the mouse. She's like, she had an iPad. She wasn't clicking the mouse. So what I got out today was I got this out and we played with this. Click the mouse. Circle with the mouse. She thought it was ugly, but it was funny. So we just practice the vocabulary, and that's what we have to remember is they're saying words that they need the they need to practice the sounds. Mouse and click. So these are the sounds that they need to practice. So it was just really weird because Casey said that um, one of the mentors said that you don't need to show the mouse anymore and that they don't use the mouse, which they don't use the mouse. Okay. She wasn't using a mouse, but why is the entire lesson all about clicking the mouse, circling with the mouse? The whole lesson, computer, I showed her my laptop because I have a mirror and I showed her my laptop. So I showed her like this and stuff. So I do not have a mouse right here. So I use this one. She didn't really like it that much. So I just thought it was weird, you know, that they would have that entire lesson all about it. And then they say that, we don't really need to show the mouse, whatever. But we had a good time. We had fun. Believe me, that was not a problem. So anyway, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful. And if you're watching and you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe this video and look out for more videos about VIB Kid, knitting, and more. I have some more ideas as well. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Happy teaching.